I made the active choice to stop, and that's where this new chapter started. When I want to do something but I'm a bit concerned about it, I say, well, what's the worst that could happen? Sometimes it's like the house could catch fire. There could be like really serious consequences, but mostly nothing serious is going to happen. I realised I'd been living under a delusion for a long, long time. And this is one of the good things about midlife. Like, I'm just not really that bothered about a lot of things anymore. This is it. You get one shot. I thought to myself, how much longer do you keep doing this to yourself? It may be that this is easy for me to say as a man. Midlife is difficult for men. It's a lot more difficult for women. If Charlie Brooker got on the blower tomorrow and said, Martin, I want you to write me a Black Mirror, would I do it? Where do I sign, Charlie? Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a writer. And I had, when I was a kid, I had a little petite typewriter, red with white keys, little plastic thing with blue ink. And I also had a William Caxton printing press. Now, this was like a little stamps, plastic stamps, and you tweezers, you put the letters in, and you had an ink pad and you could make your own little books. All through school, I wrote stories. And I don't know whether you saw the video recently about where I said I'd had two really good English teachers and one horrible English teacher. The horrible English teacher, ladies and gentlemen, once gave us the opportunity to write a story. And obviously, me being me, I wrote a science fiction story. So when she went through and marked it, she crossed out every entry of ship and changed it to rocket. That's the kind of person she was. But anyway, like the Murphys, as they say. I wrote stories all through school. I started writing short stories. I started off with as an adult properly. When I was about 20, I entered a competition, didn't really get anywhere with it, but I kind of enjoyed it and got the bug. And then I had aims pretty quickly, though that wanting to be a novelist thing came back. I worked hard. I had short stories published in small press magazines that were around at the time. So this is before the internet. Little publications. I'll get one. So I'd have short stories published in little magazines like this. These are like A5 things. This is called Xenos. I had a few stories in this. These are from 1996. So that was the kind of era we're talking about. Had some short stories in there. And that was my aim, is originally to get a short story in a magazine, then another one, then another one, then more magazines, and eventually get a book published and, become a great writer. And so for a few years, the plan went absolutely on track. I got books published, both sides of the Atlantic and stuff like that. And then I made a mistake in that I changed agents, but it didn't work out. What I then did was switch to script writing. I've always wanted to have something on the telly, which I've since worked out is probably a bit of an ego thing. It's all about seeing your name at the end. But I tried for a long time to get into BBC audio drama, it's a medium I really love. Honed my script writing skills. Even at one point had a meeting at the BBC, worked with a couple of producers on audio things. But nothing came of it. It is a very fickle business. There was a point at which I said, how much longer do I do this to myself? Because I was just getting drained. It's raining. If you can hear the rain, it's raining on the top of the studio. I realised I'd probably, almost certainly been living under a delusion for a long, long time that all this would eventually be a great success, that I would write a Black Mirror for Charlie Brooker or, something like Peaky Blinders, like Stephen Knight. That might happen, but it might not. And how much longer do you keep... I thought to myself, how much longer do you keep doing this to yourself? And I kind of thought, I can't rely on the RLF forever, even though it was great work. And they're a great organisation. If you're in the UK and you're a writer and you meet the eligibility criteria, I would highly recommend it. But, they give you a bit and they give you a bit and they give you a bit and they give you a bit. And I wanted a bit more certainty. And I thought, that was when I really started looking for a job, proper job, let's say. Now I'm much more level, and I realise that this hasn't been given up, and that every bit of the experience I've had until now has led to this point, has led to me being here with the confidence and the skills and the insights to bring into this corporate world something they don't have, and that sometimes has to be dialed back because it's the corporate world. But the point is, it wasn't a failure. And now the real thing, what I find myself saying is, I don't know whether I would go back to, say, Charlie Brooker got on the blower tomorrow, and the blower, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in America or Canada, or I know where I know a lot of you are, the blower is the telephone. I don't quite know the etymology of it. Cockney rhyming slang, the phone is the dog and bone, which you get that right. It rhymes. It's the phone. The blower, I don't know where that comes from. I might have to look it up. But if Charlie Brooker got on the blower tomorrow and said, Martin, I want you to write me a Black Mirror, would I do it? Probably. Where do I sign, Charlie? Be like that. I don't know. It depends how much he's going to pay me. Just a reminder at this point to check out the channel memberships. I don't like putting too many ads in the videos, and one way to support the channel is to take out a membership. You can get members only ad-free videos. The other thing is, it's like this midlife thing. You know, a friend of mine, he wrote a book and it was made into a film by Chris Nolan. That was amazing. But like, that friend of mine, he's dead now. You know, and that's kind of, I see writers, people who've been writing for a long, long time and had great careers. They don't look well, any of them. They got big bags under their eyes and they're overweight. My choice to stop chasing the writing career was a positive choice, an active choice by me, made by me. It wasn't that I kept going and things just dried up. I made the decision. I once went on a course, a clean language course. A clean language, if you're not familiar with it, it's a sort of counselling technique in a way, in that the clean bit comes in that you ask people questions. The questions are phrased such that you do not taint their thoughts by inserting anything, by giving them anything. You kind of drawing out everything that's just inside them. There are only 12 core questions. Can't remember what they are because I did the course a long time ago. But we would do peer practice. And when I was doing the peer practice, I would find myself reaching for a cloud. And this cloud was just out of reach, just beyond arm's length. And even if I could reach it, I wouldn't be able to grasp it. And this made me think of something a friend said, another writer friend who's still with us, Ian Armour-Cloud. Hello, Ian. He's not watching. Who always said, he said to me one time, you know, whatever you have, it'll never be enough. Whatever success you have, it will never be enough. And that kind of struck home. And I realised since he's right. And so that was like, okay, so say I got an audio drama made. The BBC, they don't pay much for these things. So then what? You're going to get another one. You get another one. You get another one. And that's probably not going to happen. I made the active choice to stop. And that's where this new chapter started. And now I've gone through the grief phase. Sounds dramatic, but I think it's pretty accurate. Gone through the grief phase, and I enjoy my work. I work with nice people. The work's varied. It's been used all over the world. And just because I have entered this corporate world doesn't mean I have to be corporate. So one of the things I find myself asking myself more often than not these days when I want to do something but I'm a bit concerned about it. I say, well, what's the worst that could happen? And yeah, sometimes it's like, the house could catch fire, or it could be there could be like really serious consequences. But mostly, nothing serious is going to happen. It's just, it's. I saw a psychotherapist. I've had 3 blocks of sessions, I think, with this psychotherapist, and each time I've seen her, in those blocks, she said to me one thing. She said one sentence that's been a light bulb for me. I'm going to share those with you now. So the first one is, who are you trying to impress? And the moment she said it, before she finished the sentence, people popped up in my field of vision. Another one was, it's a fantasy. I was like, oh, okay. And then another one was, that sounds like a very mild form of PTSD. And okay, so PTSD is like something that affects ex-servicemen and stuff like that because of the trauma they've experienced. You dial it down and you realize that just because something's happened once doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen again. So like when we were putting up a shelf on Sunday, my wife wanted a shelf putting up, and I'm like, I've had bad experiences putting up shelves, drilling holes in the wall. The holes would get bigger and bigger. The raw plug would fall in the cavity. It was a nightmare. So I was quite stressed out about putting this shelf up in the bathroom that she wanted. As it happened, well, I thought, what's the worst that could happen? I thought to myself, it takes a while, and we make a big hole in the wall, and we have to fill it and paint over it. That's actually the worst that could happen, which is not too big a deal. In the end, it was plain sailing. Drilled the hole straight in. 10 minutes, it was done. It was up, this shelf. It looks really nice, I got to say. So don't be afraid. Be cautious, but ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen if I start this, or if I stop this? I mean, if it's something big, major, like you're ending a relationship, don't do it because I said. Take your own responsibility. But if it's like you want to change jobs, but you're scared of what might happen or what that might mean, or if you're one of these people that says, "Oh, I've always wanted to write a book," have a go. I did it, and they were published. It's hard work, but why not? Have a go. And this is one of the good things about midlife, like our age. How old are you? You don't look it. I tell you what, doing well. But this is one of the good things about midlife, is that we care a lot less. There's a lot less to lose. We're is that how you feel? Like, I'm just not really that bothered about a lot of things anymore. I think part of that comes from just age, and my dad died 7 years ago this month, and like I said, like, my dad's no longer there. I've had friends die. So Dave early this year, bass player, he was 54. Lee, our singer, he died. Writers I know have died, and you start thinking, this is it. You get one shot. So free yourself from constraints or self-imposed things that are holding you back, and just go for it. What's the worst that could happen? I will say, I think this is it may be that this is easy for me to say as a man in midlife. Midlife it's difficult for men. It's a lot more difficult for women. A lot of women, so they have to go through the menopause and significant physical changes, losing confidence, becoming invisible in the world. But and again, this may be easy for me to say, but I would say, make that a motivator. Is there anything you're thinking of stopping or starting? And if so, what is that? If there is something, say there's something you want to start small. Take stock. Think about it. But don't let yourself be put off by fear. Just give it a go. What's the worst that could happen? So what are you going to start or stop or try or do something new?